Welcome to our channel where we delve into the darkest corners of the earth and unearth the most terrifying tales ever told. Tonight we venture into the chilling depths of icy caverns where the freezing air whispers with the lamentations of the dead. Prepare yourselves for 3 true horror stories from the chilling abyss, tales of those lost to the ice and snow, forever bound to the glacial silence. Turn off the lights, huddle close, and prepare to be terrified, for these are the legends of ghostly figures in ice caves. High in the desolate, windswept peaks of the Alaskan wilderness lies a cavern of ethereal beauty and bone-chilling terror. The locals know it as the Frozen Whisper, a gaping maw in the side of a glacier, forever locked in winter's icy grip. It was here that a team of explorers on a mission to chart the glacial formations would encounter a horror beyond their wildest nightmares. The team, led by the seasoned Dr. Lewis, was a mixture of seasoned veterans and eager young scientists, all brimming with excitement at the prospect of new discoveries. They descended into the frozen heart of the glacier, their headlamps cutting through the oppressive darkness, their breath misting in the frigid air. The silence was absolute, broken only by the crunch of their boots on the ice and the drip, drip, drip of melting water, each sound echoing eerily in the vastness of the cavern. Days turned into weeks as the team diligently mapped the labyrinthine passages of the ice cave, marveling at the frozen waterfalls and shimmering ice crystals that adorned its depths. But as they ventured deeper, a sense of unease began to settle over the expedition. The playful banter that had once filled the icy tunnels died down, replaced by an unnerving silence. It began subtly at first, a feeling of being watched, a flicker of movement in the periphery that couldn't quite be placed. Then came the whispers, faint and indistinct, seeming to emanate from the very walls themselves. One evening, as the weary explorers huddled around their camp stove, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. It was young David, a geologist on his first expedition. He stumbled into the light, his eyes wide with terror, his face ashen. "I saw him," he gasped. "The phantom of the frozen cavern." The others listened in stunned silence as David described a translucent figure, a shimmering apparition that seemed to glide through the ice, its eyes burning with an eerie blue light. Dr. Lewis, a man of science and logic, initially dismissed David's claims as a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and the extreme conditions. But as the days passed and more members of the team reported similar sightings, a seed of doubt began to take root in his mind. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, seeming to taunt them, to mock their fear. And then one by one the explorers began to disappear. It started with young David, who vanished without a trace while on watch duty. His headlamp was found lying on the ice, its beam still cutting through the darkness, but of David there was no sign. Panic gripped the remaining members of the team. They were trapped in a nightmare, hunted by something they couldn't explain. Nestled at the foot of a majestic, snow-capped mountain range, the small town of Bleak Ridge held a dark secret, a tale whispered amongst the locals with a mix of fear and sorrow. It was the story of the whispering shadows, ghostly voices that echoed from the depths of the Blackwood Glacier, a chilling reminder of a tragedy that had befallen the town generations ago. The Blackwood Glacier, with its jagged peaks and treacherous crevasses, had always been a source of both awe and apprehension for the residents of Bleak Ridge. It was a place of stark beauty, but beneath its pristine surface lay a heart of ice and stone, unforgiving and relentless. The old-timers spoke of the glacier as if it were alive, a sentient being that guarded its secrets jealously. The tale of the whispering shadows began on a bleak winter's night, a night much like any other in Bleak Ridge, the wind howling like a banshee, the snow falling in thick, blinding sheets. A group of miners, their faces grimed with coal dust, their bodies weary from a long day's work, were making their way home from the mine that burrowed deep into the mountains. They were a jovial bunch, their laughter echoing through the stillness of the night, their carbide lamps casting dancing shadows on the snow-covered ground. As they approached the Blackwood Glacier, a sudden roar, like the bellow of a slumbering giant, split the night. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and a wall of white, moving with terrifying speed, came crashing down the mountainside. It was an avalanche of epic proportions, a churning mass of snow and ice that swallowed everything in its path. The miners, caught completely off guard, didn't stand a chance. The town of Bleak Ridge was devastated by the tragedy. The mine, their lifeline to the outside world, was buried under tons of ice and rock. The families of the lost miners grieved their loved ones, their hearts heavy with sorrow and a gnawing sense of despair. The Blackwood Glacier had claimed their own, and the town would never be the same. As the years passed and the memory of the tragedy began to fade, a strange phenomenon began to occur. People passing by the Blackwood Glacier, especially on those cold, still nights when the wind seemed to carry whispers on the air, would hear strange sounds emanating from the depths of the glacier. They were faint at first, barely audible above the groan of the ice and the howl of the wind. But as the listener drew closer, they became more distinct, like the murmurings of countless voices rising and falling in a mournful dirge. Some dismissed the sounds as the wind whistling through the ice formations, creating eerie melodies. Others, however, claimed that they were the voices of the lost miners, their souls forever bound to the glacier, crying out in anguish, their whispers a chilling reminder of the unforgiving nature of the mountain. The legend of the Whispering Shadows lives on in Bleak Ridge, a chilling reminder of the power of nature's fury and the enduring strength of the human spirit. In the frozen wastelands of the Arctic, where the sun barely rises above the horizon and the wind howls like a banshee, lies a legend whispered in hushed tones by the Inuit people. It is the tale of the Ice Queen, a powerful and enigmatic figure who ruled over a vast frozen kingdom, her heart as cold and unforgiving as the ice that surrounded her. Her palace, they say, was a marvel of ice and snow, a shimmering fortress carved from the heart of a glacier. It was a place of both beauty and terror, its halls adorned with intricate ice sculptures, its walls shimmering with an otherworldly light. But woe betide the soul who dared to enter the Ice Queen's lair uninvited, for legend had it that none who crossed her ever returned. She was born, so the legend goes, from the heart of a glacier, her skin as white as snow, her hair as pale as moonlight, her eyes like chips of blue ice. From the moment of her birth, she possessed an unnatural power over the elements, able to summon blizzards with a wave of her hand, to freeze a man's heart with a single glance. As she grew older, the Ice Queen's power grew with her. She gathered a loyal following of polar bears, Arctic foxes, and other creatures of the frozen north, their loyalty bought with promises of power and their fear of her icy wrath. Together they terrorized the Inuit people, raiding their villages, stealing their food, and leaving a trail of frozen bodies in their wake. The Inuit elders, desperate to end the Ice Queen's reign of terror, consulted their shamans, wise men and women who communed with the spirits of the land. The shamans went into deep trances, seeking guidance from the ancestors, and when they emerged, their faces were grave. The Ice Queen, they proclaimed, is a creature of ancient magic, her heart filled with the cold emptiness of the glacier from which she was born. And so the Inuit warriors, armed with spears tipped with obsidian and courage fueled by desperation, set out to confront the Ice Queen in her frozen lair. Their journey was long and perilous, their path fraught with danger. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they reached the Ice Queen's palace. It was even more imposing than they had imagined, a towering fortress of ice that seemed to pierce the heavens. The battle that ensued was one for the ages. The Inuit warriors fought with the ferocity of cornered wolves, their spears flashing in the pale sunlight, their war cries echoing across the frozen wasteland. The Ice Queen's minions fought back with savage fury, their claws and teeth tearing at flesh and bone, but they were no match for the Inuits' determination. The frozen wastelands of our world hold countless mysteries, and the creatures that lurk within them are often more terrifying in our imaginations than in reality. We've journeyed deep into the heart of these chilling tales, exploring the legends and lore that have been passed down through generations. If you found yourself shivering at the edge of your seat, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the unknown. Until next time, keep your blankets close and your lights on, because the world is full of terrors that go bump in the night.